a relatively quick talk because we have a busy road right beside us. George is trying to jump on that busy road because he wants to go for walkies, but he does not know what cars are for. So
he does know what they're for. They're from taking him to his vet's appointments.
Right, yeah. So otherwise they're just a roving annoyance that apparently weighs that of a powder puff. But that's not true. So we're going to continue on from Royden Mill, where we are right now.
We're in Essex, I think.
What's in Essex?
The county.
Okay.
So we're heading up and we're going to go through
Sawbridgeworth. We're heading towards Bishop's Stortford, which we may even make today.
Yeah, I think we've got quite a late start today because we've been doing admin for the Thames.
And just admin of all the comments on our channel. So yeah, so we basically had to make a bunch of phone calls today, which meant we had to wait till everybody opened, and it turned out that some of them weren't even there to answer the phone call, so we'll be waiting for that.
It seems to be there's like a lock every mile, which is quite annoying.
Roughly, that's what I'm looking at here. Mile. We got 3 in front of us.
Then 1, 2, 3, 4, like they're literally every mile. Which is annoying because if they were like quarter of a mile, like I'd just walk between them all. If they were less than that, I'd just walk. If they were longer than that, I'd definitely get on the boat.
Right, so she's probably going to walk about 13 miles to Bishop Stortford today.
I'm not. And another thing about these locks is they're narrower than wide locks, but wider than narrow locks.
Yeah, they're just wide enough for one relatively wide beam to fit in. They're about 13 feet wide, so that the wider barges could go in.
Yeah, but you can't get 2 narrow boats in there.
No, and you wouldn't be able to fit the really big wide beams that everybody's buying nowadays in.
They're
also fairly tumultuous.
Yeah.
So we're having to rope off, which is fine, but you know, just a little different than the ones that we've been on.
Yeah, the ones on at the Lee up to the junction were
pretty calm.
Really calm, apart from that one that opened really fast.
Yeah, but these ones are definitely churny. So we'll just be taking our time with the locks. Yeah, we don't really need anything today. We could use a recycling bin if we see one, but
could use some chocolate.
Oh yes,
we're out of chocolate.
Chocolate is always important.
Do you want to drive?
Yeah. Waiting to go up a lock. There's a boat in the lock coming down. Basically, we're in a traffic jam. Tell me again about the hard work. So we came up to the lock and found out that the boat that was in front of us was sitting on the lock landing waiting for the lock because one of the doors in the lock was open and jammed open So the CRT had a barge in there with a crane, and they were pulling several logs out. Quite deft movements of the crane and everything. They've now moved the CRT boat up. Now there is another boat coming down, followed by this boat in front of us going up, followed by the water coming down. Then we get to go up. Then no doubt the water comes down. And sometime next month we'll be in Bishop Stortford. We are passing through Sawbridgeworth, and we just passed Riverside Pizza, which has pizza, kebabs, and more. Unfortunately, we won't be able to try to find out what the and more is as we are continuing on. We are exhausted. It has been a very long day. The locks have been slow, primarily or partially because the individuals in front of us are leaving all of the upstream lock doors open as they pass through. They're too far ahead for us to actually catch up and say oi, but oi. Not a lot of moorings so far, but we're hoping that there will be some that show up soonish. Not sure how much longer we can push on. So yeah, that's a low bridge. That's a very low bridge. Rail bridge. Very low bridge. Now they're very low headroom. Like, really, really low headroom. And that's for a lock.
What a day!
I am exhausted. The GoPro has also died. I'm tired.
It's been going that long. It is about 7:30.
We've been going since 10 a.m.
It's a long day for us.
It's a long day. 9.5 hours. We made it all the way to Bishop Stortford, where we just turned around. There's some pubs right beside us, so it's probably going to be a little loud tonight, but you know, we'll see.
But we're just so grateful to find a mooring, because one thing we've noticed about the Stort is there's not that many, well, there's not visitor moorings at all. There's just really overgrown high towpaths that you kind of throw your boat at.
And a lot of it could be quite good moorings, but it's been left to overgrow.
So we pushed and pushed and pushed to get here because we kind of set out to, and then we were like, well, what if we get to the end and there's not even anywhere to moor? And like from the last lock to where we are to the end of the navigation, it's worse than ever. It's like worse.
Oh yeah, everything is overgrown.
But not like before. On the other sections, it's overgrown, but you could probably get your boat in and moor.
Yeah,
here, it's overgrown, and you can't get your boat in.
Completely overgrown. You couldn't get your boat in. The couple of places you could get your boat in are right under a bridge.
Yeah.
Until the end, where there is this nice set of 14-day moorings, which we lucked out were completely empty because the moorings were suspended today until this evening for some sort of kayak event.
If it hadn't been for that suspension, we could well have got here and it had been full of boats that have been here like for a few days. Yeah. So it kind of got lucky.
Kind of worked out. I mean,
I gotta say that the Stort is quite lovely.
It's beautiful. I can't remember what lock it was, but it was. I was like quite happy to stop there. But
The one that you were kind of
the
gobsmacked
views,
at.
yeah.
Just around the corner from that, we found somebody swimming in the canal. They jumped and pulled themselves out of the boat and then hid. So
Yeah,
I got
well-
kind of embarrassed.
yeah, well, they were only wearing. I just felt bad that we'd interrupted the swim because
Yeah, no, me too.
it was a beautiful time in the evening.
I was just surprised to come around the corner and see a head bobbing in the water. My first thought was, that's not good.
We were really tired by this stage, and when we get tired at the end of a cruise, we can get a bit like short with each other, like, and yeah, we kind of lose patience a bit. So Michael was like, "There's a head in the water," and I'm like, "Oh, what do you mean there's a head in the water? There's a head in the water. I can't hear you. What do you mean there's a head in the water? There's a head in the water."
Yeah, I'm like, I don't really know how to explain this any better. There's a head in the water. I'm hoping the head is attached to shoulders. I'm not sure yet.
A dismembered floating head.
Just wanted to make sure.
Was it today we saw those 2 wide beam trip boats? That seems like forever ago.
Yeah, that was a long time ago.
So we split the driving pretty much, I'd say 50-50 again.
Yeah.
And I was in one lock, and there was a wide beam that turned up to come down, and then behind it another wide beam. They're kind of charity boats or something, I don't know.
They're accessible boats, which is great.
Yeah. But then
They're just, I guess they just set off on their day's cruise.
I think
or
they've
something
done one
because,
lock.
Yeah, they were like one lock up was their base, so they must have just come down.
so the first one's on the lock landing, and the second one managed to get like wedged, like
Sort of across the
at 90
canal.
degrees from the dough path, and the canal did like a 90-degree turn at that point as well. So I said to one of the crew, I was like, "Which way does the navigation go?" And they said, "See where that boat's across the canal? That's where you go." And I was like, "Oh, good." And then he said, "Don't worry, it's a contact sport." And I was just like, "No, it's my house. It's not contact sport."
Yeah, and there was other ample opportunities for contact today. There were some kids in canoes, 3 of whom were 3 girls who were going, like, trying desperately to go in 3 different directions. One of whom was screaming and shrieking at the top of anyone's lungs and possibly at the edge of human hearing about a spider. Apparently this spider derailed all efforts to get out of the way of a boat, but it certainly sounded important.
And then a bit on from that, this boat pulled off a service point, and my heart sank. I don't know how you felt, but these locks, you can only get one boat in. They're wider than the narrow locks, but they're narrower than I think I said this earlier. So we then were stuck behind this boat, whereas on any other canal that had wide locks, you'd be like, "Oh great, we've got someone to go up with." And so we waited behind them for the first lock, and then we got to the second lock, and we'd kind of hung back, and I'd walked, and I was like, they've got to be through by the time we get there, because we'd like really.
And then they were just sitting there. So I'm like, well, why isn't he getting into the lock?
What you playing at?
And I just was a little confused, and I couldn't see him or his the passenger he had with him or anything.
Yeah, because he was.
So I thought they were maybe up on the lock or something. Yeah, he was teaching.
She wants to buy a boat, so he was showing her the ropes.
Yeah, literally the rope.
So you managed to drop me off, even though they're on the lock landing, and then you just have to float there.
Yeah, and I still couldn't see the barge.
Oh, you didn't know what was happening?
No, I had no idea what was going on until this section of blue barge pushes over, and a crane arm comes down and starts munching at and I'm just like, what is going on?
This isn't good. So I went up and had a look, and basically the story is that one of the gates wouldn't open because there was, it turned out, some logs blocking it, so they couldn't get the gate open. So there was this CRT workboat down there with a crane on the end, and yeah, they
did a really quick job of picking up whatever they were doing.
I got there, and he was like backwards and forwards, and he jumped on the crane, and then he went down, and I was like, oh god, we're going to be here for ages, and we were there for ages. But anyway, like the crane went down and it came up, and I was like, I was so impressed. I wanted to like give him a round of applause, but then there was another one, so he spent a bit of time digging for that, and then when he got that one, he was really excited.
Yeah.
The workboat finally has its celebration, and then they raise the lock, and then he goes out, and then another boat turns up, so they come down and they go out,
and they didn't even know there was the work was going on. They just came in with, oh, the lock's empty, wonderful.
Yeah, I was
and they came down.
I said to the man, oh, good timing, and he was just like, what? Yeah, oh, I suppose so.
Yeah.
We've been here for an hour.
He passes me, and I'm just like, how long were you waiting? And he's like, oh, no time at all. Wow, you've got patience. I thought they were sitting up there for a while.
No, they literally pulled up as the workboat was leaning. Yeah, they had luck. And then, so then the boat in front of us went up, And then we went up, and then we were behind them for like 5 or 6 locks, and
which meant that every one of them was set against us with the top doors wide open.
I wasn't happy.
No, that was a little annoying. I was like, because he's teaching somebody how to do it, and it's like, so you'll just skip the etiquette then, right?
Yeah. Every look we got to, you couldn't just drop the paddles or open the paddles even. You had to go and shut the top gates, and these gates are heavy.
Yeah, really heavy. And I mean, there were 2 that were powered, but only...
You got both of those.
Yeah, I got both of those. I got lucky. But it was the bottom gates in both cases were powered, and you needed your waterways key to turn them on, which meant that I one time had to run back to Joe to get one of the waterways keys, because of course I didn't keep it with me. And it was great because you could open and close the doors on the first one, but it was only the doors, so you had to manually do all of the.
But when you're pressing that button, you're like, "This is bliss."
Yeah, it really
feels
is.
so good. And we both, when we spotted that woman swimming, we both independently were thinking, "Could do with a swim right now."
Could do with that. Yeah, I mean the water's beautifully clear.
And there's no rubbish. That's what I was going to say. Like compared to the Paddington Arm, the Regents, and the Lee Navigation. It's completely rural, so it makes sense. But I just, after seeing all that rubbish for so long, I just remember seeing one tiny bit of rubbish today, thinking, oh, that's a shame, and then thinking, actually, that's really good.
That's actually really good compared to what. And then there was the BlackBerry incident.
Oh, that was so funny. Michael was,
she thought it was hilarious.
Michael was like, oh, blackberries, and just as you said it like really.
Just as we get close there, I'm like, blackberries mean thorns. And like pulled my shirt up and had me like on by the hat.
He was bent backwards.
I felt them going across my face. And
I was in hysterics, but then afterwards there was this like flash of like you could have actually tumbled back off the boat.
Yeah, well, I was pretty sure I wasn't going to do that, but I was like looking at my shirt afterwards, going like, did I just wound myself?
Yeah, and I got like ripped.
Yeah,
I'm sorry I didn't catch it on film.
Yeah,
that would have been the best.
Oh no, it was great. I mean, I love the fact that like I've just been whipped across the face by blackberries. It's like literally a scourge of thorns has happened to me, and you're giggling.
You went from like joy, like you were ecstatic to like horror in like
because there was that first second of like I can grab a blackberry, and then I'm like thorns at speed. Maybe this isn't a good idea.
Ouch.
Yeah, it was just. Forethought would have been better, but still funny. Got you to laugh. That was good. So thanks for watching. Thanks for listening to me ramble on just now.
There's probably not much footage at the end of the day because I get tired and I stop filming, and then there was one time when the GoPro ran out for ages.
Oh yeah, and there was one time when the GoPro didn't get started for a while.
I think I pressed photo instead of video. So
I tried taking a bunch of videos today, but who
knows what this vlog will be.
We'll see. So thanks for watching. Like, click, comment, subscribe, thumbs up, and hit the bell.
You're getting good at that.
I'm getting better at it. What's an Essex?
It's a county. Like
okay. We've passed into an Essex. Everybody laughing at Michael, the idiot who doesn't know anything.
What's an Essex? It just sounded funny.
Well, I don't know what to...
It's a whole new county.
It's a whole new county, which is a governmental jurisdiction of completely undescribably unknown...
Funny.
Yeah. What are the characteristics of a county? Can anybody tell me what one looks like? What is the shape of a county? I don't really want a dissertation on counties, by the way. Stort Bruin, or whatever it's called. Bishop Stratford. I got no idea where that word came from. So we're heading towards Bishop's Stortford. So we are passing through. We are passing through Sawbridgeworth. Also, trying to be funny and sexy at the same time. Seem to have pulled it off.
They had 3 children, and she was the oldest, and she was pregnant. And I was just like...
The 3-year-old
The mum was pregnant.
Yeah, the oldest child was not the pregnant mom.